Greetings. What are the 3 scariest mistakes you can make as a writer? Stay tuned to find out. This is Colleen M. Story. I'm speaking to you from my Halloween writing studio. Now today, I want to talk to you about the 3 scariest mistakes that you can make in your writing career to hopefully help you to avoid making them. Now, mistake number 1 is to fail to pay your dues. Now, this comes in 3 different forms. The first, and perhaps the most important, is daily practice. You cannot become a wonderful writer if you aren't writing every day. Now, occasionally you may take a day off for this or that. But other than those serious things, you really should be putting in at least 15 minutes a day, more if you can, to practice. The second part of that is to start small. Do not assume that your book is going to be published by HarperCollins first thing. Start with a smaller publisher, an independent publisher. They can help you. They will take your hand. They will help you learn about the whole book publishing process. Or if you are self-publishing, be sure that again you start small. Perhaps you could publish a novella or a nonfiction book or a book of poems or photographs, something to kind of get your feet wet if you haven't self-published before. And the third part of paying your dues is to start building your author platform now. One of the biggest mistakes, the scariest mistakes I see writers making, is waiting far too long. And when I say platform, I just mean a way for people to get to know you. People don't know who you are. If you put out a book and nobody knows who you are, you're not going to be able to sell it. You must start communicating with your potential readers through a blog, through guest blogging, through videoing, through podcasting, through guest appearances. You must get your name out there. So, scariest mistake number 1, failing to pay your dues by not practicing, failing to start small, and by not getting busy on your author platform immediately. Oh, excuse me. I was just talking to my little friend here, Charlie, and he was agreeing with what we were talking about mistake number 1. Very scary mistake. Don't you agree, Charlie? He agrees. Okay, Charlie, run along. Mistake number 1 being failing to pay your dues. So let's move on to mistake number 2. Not to get help. Now, who would imagine that you could become this amazing best-selling writer without help? Who are you to become a writer? Do you know all the ins and outs of the publishing business? Do you know all the ins and outs of telling a story? I certainly didn't. And I was stupid enough to spend far too many years struggling on my own before I realized that getting a little help might be a good idea. That's when I did one of the 3 things that you should be doing to get help, and that is to hire an editor. So many writers give their stories to family, to friends, to work colleagues, expecting that that's going to give them a great deal of help in learning how to write a story. I'm sorry, that's lovely, but everybody has their opinions. This one will tell you this thing is wrong, that one will tell you that thing is wrong, and you will end up totally confused. It's a very scary place to be, trust me. Far better to do your research and find an editor who can truly help you. There are many of them out there that are very well qualified if you research their qualifications, ask for a few recommendations, and most all of them will give you a free chapter so you can see whether the two of you would work together well. You must invest in yourself. So many of us are afraid of spending the money. Oh, I can't spend the money. And editing is not cheap. But if you really want to succeed as an author, you must invest in your own training. The second part of this is to be signing yourself up for workshops. Now, you can do these in person, at least you could before the horrible pandemic hit in 2020. But as we move forward, hopefully we'll have more in-person writers' conferences that you can attend. But then, of course, there are many, many online workshops as well. And finally, I would also recommend trying to find writing mentors. I've found in my career that if I seek out those writers that I really admire, and I find out where they're going to be speaking, or maybe where they're going to be signing books, and if I can, I get to those locations, or perhaps you can pull up a YouTube video and listen to them talk. It's an amazing thing that the writers we tend to admire, we have some of their energy in us. We tend to admire the kind of writers that write the books that we would like to write. And so listening to what they do, listening to their process, being near them if you can in person is phenomenal. Finally, mistake number 3. Charlie decided to come back and join us because he wanted to emphasize how very important this is. Oh dear, poor Charlie. He fell off. Oh, I'm sure he'll make do. Mistake number 3. Giving up too soon. It takes quite a while to become a successful writer, take it from me. Many, many years in most cases. You may be one of the exceptions. You may break out much faster than the rest of us, but most of us first have to learn how to truly write a really good story. And that takes time and practice and education and getting help. And then it takes time to get published, to get your books out there, to get your author platform built. And along the way, we really want to experience those successes. We want book number 1 to hit the top of the best-selling charts. And when it doesn't, we can feel disappointed. Or perhaps you've submitted your novel to many, many publishers and all you're getting are rejections. And you think maybe it's time to give it up. Maybe you've spent too long on this dream of yours. But I can tell you, every single writer I've spoken to, and I've interviewed over 300, and I can tell you that all of them say it is so important not to give up. So wherever you are in your career right now, whatever may be happening, if you really want to become a very good writer, a successful writer, you must not give up. I mean, what does it matter how long it takes? If this is a dream of yours, if that dream comes through when you're 89 years old, will it be any less sweet? I don't think so. In review, the 3 scariest mistakes that writers make in their writing careers. Number 1. Failing to pay your dues through practice, starting small and building your author platform now. Number 2, failing to get help through hiring an editor, signing up for workshops, or finding a writing mentor. And number 3, giving up too soon. If you can avoid making these 3 mistakes, your chances of success will be much greater. Thank you so much for joining me in my Writing and Wellness Halloween studio. I hope you have a lovely Halloween and also that you have a very successful writing career. Oh, and Charlie says he hopes so too.